everyone, it's Kate from Grow Your Own Joy. I just wanted to pop on and tell you what's going on. I haven't uploaded a video in about 2 weeks. I have been filming little clips as time has gone on, but I've been sick for about a week and haven't been up for editing, and in the weeks prior to that, we have some construction going on, so my time has kind of been pretty thin spread. But what I'm going to do is show you a little bit of what's been happening over the last few weeks, and hopefully this video isn't too long. If I need to, I'll break it into 2 videos, but it's just a bunch of clips, nothing too complete. There's some grocery hauls, some food I've been cooking, and a little bit of the construction that's been going on. So stick with me if you want to see what's been going on around here. So in addition to trying to get some editing done today, I need to do a grocery haul. I don't even have a meal plan. Things kind of fell apart. I'll try to get back on track. So I need to do some cleaning, some thinking about what we're going to eat this week. I'm trying to keep everything really low because we do have construction going on, so I need to save money wherever I can. And the other thing I need to do that I've been putting off for a while is this is not the company that I normally order from, the Hudson Valley Seaco, but I'm excited to try it. I got a bundle of shallots and garlic, so I got a bag of shallots to plant. I got German extra hearty garlic, music garlic, and chestnut red seed garlic. So these are hard nut varieties. What I do need to do today is pull these apart and try to decide where I'm going to plant them. I don't know if I'm going to have time or have enough energy to plant them today, but at least if I can get them pulled apart and start thinking about where I'm going to put my garlic. My husband mowed the lawn and it was pretty long, so he kind of blew the grass into piles, and I can rake it up and use that to put on top of my garlic. We also have some leaves that have fallen in the yard that I can rake up and use. So I'm hoping at some point in the next week I can get this in the ground, so it's not a complete waste. It really needs to get in by the end of October. So hopefully I'll film a little bit of that and include it in this video too. So yeah, we'll just see how things go.
This seems weird to me, but here's the packet of dip mix, and I'm supposed to simmer it with half a cup of water on the stove for 5 minutes before I do anything, so I'll get that done. So I have the half a cup of water in here. I'm adding the dip mix, and I'm going to simmer it for 5 minutes, and then I can keep going with this process. This mix has simmered, and I'm going to let it cool down before I add it to the mixture. It calls for half a cup of Greek yogurt, and I don't have that, but I do have sour cream. So I'm going to just use up the sour cream that's left in this, and then we'll see if it looks like I need more. I think that'll be close. I just use up what I have. It's not always the exact thing for the recipe, but it'll work. I think that's close enough to half a cup. I have this really sad lemon, so I'm just going to use that up. It calls for a tablespoon of lemon juice, but I tend to like things a little bit more lemony, so I might end up adding more. I don't know where my lemon squeezer is, so we're just gonna go like this. And try to catch the seeds in my hand. And I'll probably still miss them, but I still get most of them. There we go. Good enough. And save the rest of that in case I need it. So I ended up adding a little bit more sour cream, and this is what it looks like. I'm going to let it set up in the fridge for a few hours, and then we can taste this for a snack later today. I have like a silicone cover that'll stick to the top of this bowl. I'll probably transfer it to a smaller container later, but that's what I'm going to do for now. And while I was mixing that up, I also made myself some hash browns, and I'm making myself some eggs for a brunch because I snacked a little bit this morning, but it definitely was not enough food. I have some coconut oil melting in my Dutch oven to make my chicken curry. And I'm going to cut these chicken thighs up into little pieces. They're still a little frozen, but they'll be fine. And brown those up, and then I'll remove them and start adding my vegetables. So I forgot coconut milk. I know I said it earlier that I needed to check to see if I had it. And guess what? I didn't check. And I didn't have it, and I had to go to the grocery store that's closer to my house that's way more expensive, and this one can of coconut milk was $3.99. That's insane. I have this really sad green bell pepper that needs to be used up. I have 2 zucchini, probably the last 2 zucchini from the garden this year, 2 carrots, and I am undecided if I'm going to put some of this cabbage in that's left over from the cabbage roll in a bowl. I'm also going to add in some potatoes. I cooked all my chicken up, and now I'm going to add some onions and more coconut oil to the pan. Let that soften, and then I'll add some garlic, and then I'll show you what else I'm putting in. I'm adding crushed red pepper flakes, a little garam masala, cumin seed, curry powder. I'll salt at the end. Found another sad bell pepper, and that's way too much. I don't even really, I don't want the flavor to be very strong. I just want to add bulk to this recipe. So I'm going to chop both of these up, and I'll freeze whatever I don't use so I can use it in a future meal. Carrot, celery, and onions are in here softening. I'm going to get ready to add the seasoning. I added more coconut oil in here because the spices are fat soluble, and it'll really bring out the flavor. So that's the next step. I still have to add these 2 zucchinis. I have all my peppers chopped up and prepped for the freezer. I decided I'm not going to add the cabbage, but I am going to add the potatoes, and then it will also be some broth. What else? The chicken, coconut milk, diced tomatoes. I think that's everything. Oh, I haven't put the garlic in here yet. My phone is dying, but I'm trying my best to get this process on camera. So the zucchinis that I had, the inside was a little bit spongy, so I scooped up the seeds and chopped them up really small. I'm going to add the potatoes. Instead of chicken stock, I have this chicken bouillon, and I'm just going to make some chicken stock because I don't have any thawed, and the stuff that I have canned is in quarts, and I don't need a quart of stock. And then I'm going to add the ridiculously expensive coconut milk. There it is. And I'm going to add this can of diced tomatoes. That is definitely nearing or slightly past its expiration and needs to go. I'm also adding these frozen green beans that I froze last weekend. I just wanted to get a little bit of more life out of them. I did not vacuum seal them, so they will get freezer burnt if I don't use them quickly. So I'm going to dump these in and get all the liquids in and let it simmer. I'll show you it after it's been simmering for a little while. Meatballs and sauce are all done. And this curry is all done. I was going to make some rice to go with it. I just don't feel like doing this. I just don't feel like doing that right now. So I'm going to have this for dinner. And then I'll let this cool. And I'll let the meatballs and sausage and sauce cool. And those will go in the fridge. And we'll use those over the next couple of days. So the chicken that I showed in my grocery haul, here it is. I cooked it in my Instant Pot for 30 minutes with some spices on top. I pulled it out and let it cool, and now I'm removing it from the bones. I'm going to save the bones in this bag. I'm just reusing a bag that had vegetables in it, and that'll go in the freezer for future stock. And then the chicken I don't need right now, but I'm going to freeze it in smaller bags so that I'll have it for easy meals. And then I took the broth from cooking this and I used it in that freezer meal beef soup that I had taken out of the freezer. And hopefully I won't have to cook much more this week. I've kind of been prepping. I prepped this weekend and made a couple meals that I think I just showed you. And now I am making the soup. And if we do end up needing anything else, it's probably just going to be hot dogs and hamburgers. This is the bag of the chicken bones that I'll make broth with probably this weekend. I'll also share, I'll also save veggie scraps as I have them and add them to this bag. And then here are the 2 bags of cooked chicken that I'll put into the freezer. One will probably be for a chicken pie and one will be for jambalaya. Excuse my voice. I am currently sick with some sort of virus. Got checked out, didn't test positive for anything, but I still generally don't feel good. And of course, we're going to probably get a frost tonight. And I'm supposed to be resting. But I did pick this whole basket full of celery, and I started pulling some of my tomatoes out of the garden. I don't know if we're really going to get a frost. And I also don't know how much energy I really have to salvage what's still out there, but I'm going to try my best. So this will probably sit here a while because I just don't have the energy to deal with it, but it'll be fine. I really just needed some celery to put in some soup that I'm making because I don't really feel like swallowing too much that's solid, so I'm going to make myself some soup. And yeah, that's basically it. I'll check in with you later. So, looking like we're probably going to get a frost, at least pretty cold out, and the basil does not like that, so I picked all my basil, picked any tomatoes that look like they could be ready. I picked some little decorative pumpkins I had out there. I had some help because I don't feel great, but I'm just kind of struggling through. So we're just going to try to get some stuff in the dehydrator. I got some tomatoes in the freezer, some tomatillos in the freezer, and we'll just hope for the best with everything else out there. Looks like they're doing forms for the foundation.
Does it look good?
I don't know.
Alright, still fighting the sickness, but I am I'll tell you, I am chopping up apples that were left over from apple picking. They got a little bit mealy. We didn't get to them in time. I love making dried apples and in my dehydrator, and then I make a mix of dried apples and like a moon cheese, like a dehydrated like cheese crisp thing, and pretzels, and it's really good. So I'll show you steps of that along the way, I guess. And then these lemons I got to keep them from browning have really thick rinds. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting off the rind and I'm putting it in this jar, and I'll pour a vinegar over it and make a lemon cleaner for our kitchen. Because we don't have enough space, here's a dehydrator on the floor of my living room, propped up on a box. It hasn't been a problem because I don't run it very hot, and it doesn't get hot on the outside. And I run it while I'm home, so I can keep an eye on it. I just don't have any counter space right now. In the addition, hopefully there will be a shelf in my pantry that this can live on full time and just run in the pantry, which would be fabulous. We do plan on putting plugs in there. So we'll have the dehydrator in the pantry and then room to store canners and jars and hopefully other small household appliances and things. And then we're looking to probably put our microwave in our pantry as well. Things may change. We're just kind of planning as we go along. We do know the layout of what our addition will look like, but a lot of things are still in the works. Yesterday we went and picked out our appliances, so we're hoping everything goes smoothly with getting those, and I'll update you if I know anything else. I'm just going to keep cutting up these apples and getting them in the dehydrator, and then I'll set it at 145 degrees, and I don't know how long it'll take to dehydrate them. I'm going to start with 8 hours. Just so you know that nothing is ever perfect, here's real life. I'm cutting up apples to dehydrate. There they are. There are the washed apples. Here's the rest of the counter full of junk. Here's the stove, also full of junk. Floor is dirty because bed's not made. Floor is dirty. Real life here, but we're still getting things done, and hopefully by the end of the day it'll look better.